Welcome to Marvel Champions Podcast, a podcast about Marvel Champions, the card game. I'm your host, Scott, and with me as always, my co-host, Ryan.
That's right, and we've been busy, but not busy enough for our fans.
That's right. And we've got a fan. He's been MIA for a little bit, but he's come back and asked us another question. Do you know who that listener is, Ryan?
I do. I got the email.
Okay. Well, it's none other than our friend of the channel, or podcast, or whatever we are, is Solo Papa. He comes at us again. Do you want to read his question, Ryan?
Sure. I'll just do some paraphrasings. But it's good that he's getting back into the game. He took a little break. But he asked the question, are there any heroes that you refuse to play because of a bad experience with them? And he described he had a pretty rough time with Black Widow and trying to figure out, should I try her again and whatnot? And so, is there any heroes that you feel like you should give another shot to, Scott, that you haven't
That's a good
done?
question. Yeah. Well, first off, Black Widow is an amazing character, so you should definitely try Black Widow.
Here we go. This is she might be your favorite character, right?
Yeah, she's got a soft spot in my heart. You know, it's like I was bit by a little spider and got poisoned by the Black Widow. I don't know. I just think she plays fun. I think she plays really good. She plays different.
Yeah,
but it's a good different. For his question, I'm trying to think of some heroes that I hear a lot of good things from like the community, and they're like, "This is so good. He's so awesome." So I have a couple. So why don't I start, and then you can hit me with one of yours. One I've been thinking about lately is the Nova character. I hear a lot of good stuff that he's just like this crazy, do everything, these ultimate turns, but I'd never been able to get him to do anything fantabulous like that. It's always just kind of been like, meh.
Yeah, I've played with Nova, and I didn't mind Nova. I thought he was alright. I almost played him again in our most recent game, but I decided to go a different direction.
Okay. Yeah, Nova to me would be one, maybe with like the expanded card pool with a couple of, decent sized waves that we've hit. Maybe I can find something to make him play better.
Yeah, he plays off. It's been a while since I played Nova. He plays a lot off of events.
Wilds, yeah, events and wilds, and he's got like his Unleash the Nova Force or something card that he gets to ready every time he does something. But it's just like he himself is very weak. So unless you've got like a bunch of Ultron drones lined up that you can like kill them all, it just doesn't seem like a very practical scenario to like do those big turns consistently. That's my big gripe with Nova.
I definitely think there's some newer cards that might play well with him, so he's definitely one to give another look to.
All right, Ryan, let's hear yours.
One of mine, and I don't know if I really had like a bad experience, but I kind of had a forgetful experience, and that would be Adam Warlock.
Adam Warlock.
I played him like once or twice just because, I got to play all the heroes, and it just didn't really click with me, and so I just kind of forgotten the hero. Just not something I've really desired to go back to. And that's just what it is. I need to go back, but I've never really had that drive. It's just kind of a wall of, I really don't care.
I think that's too, is I think sometimes you just have that, you play them and it's almost like a neutral experience. And if you're not like drawn to the character in some other way, like they're your favorite comic book character, or you really like their costume or something weird like that, you just kind of forget. And that leads me right into my second one that I'm just kind of like neutral on, and I don't know why I haven't played this character more, but Phoenix. I just have not played a
Yeah.
lot of Phoenix. I think part of her deal for me was she came out in that big 4-character wave or release, the 4-character release.
Yep.
So she got kind of lost in the shuffle because I really like Cyclops. She's one of my personal favorites as a character. And then I really like playing Shadowcat because that's who I played through the box when we got it. And she just kind of was the fourth wheel, unfortunately, because you were playing Colossus.
I was also I'm in the same boat with Phoenix. I just didn't really, I think she got forgotten out of the other 3 heroes. But I did play her more recently in a deck, and it actually worked pretty good, and I had a lot more fun with her. So I've changed on her, and I want to do a deck that plays around more with her Unleashed side, because I did not go Unleashed very often or ever in our last game. I still had fun with her, but I want to play with that and see what she can do.
And I think she, as a character, is one that you can do a lot with that psionic trait. I know there's a few other psionic characters that you can mess with those psionic trait locked cards, but I think she's one that can definitely make some fun decks with those.
Yeah. So I'm going with my second one, and that's going to be Star-Lord.
You can just straight up have Star-Lord.
Yeah, I have not played Star-Lord in a while, and I really don't really look forward to it. And basically what it is I just don't like the risk. I don't like getting all those encounter cards and revealing them. It's not that... I mean, there's moments of excitement when things go really well, when you're set up, but when you're not set up, it's very much a unrewarding experience sometimes. And so that kind of sours me on Star-Lord.
So is it because your play style is generally not like a rush strategy? Because that seems like
I'm not a rusher.
That's where he shines, right? He's like a rush. 2-3 turns and you're done is his whole claim to fame.
Yeah. He's meant to be, throw everything to the wind, gamble, and hopefully you survive.
Yeah, I think that's those are some that we hopefully should catch on a few of those if we ever get back to our champion checkups. I guess that's the nice thing about kind of going back and playing some of those for like content is we do get to play some older heroes that have kind of collected some dust in the box. So when in doubt,
there's definitely some that I want to get back to and play. I think another one is like Vision. I had a bad experience with him, and I've had good experiences, but I've also had bad experience. So I want to go back and give it another shot. And I mean, I feel like there's always that chance you're going to have a bad experience with some of these heroes because sometimes the encounter deck is just not friendly.
I will say that I had that with Black Panther. Like, I've never had any gripes with Black Panther, but I had just like one bad game with Black Panther, and it kind of like turned me off of Black Panther for a little while. So
yeah,
I definitely can see how one bad game can kind of put a sour taste in your mouth for a character, even though it was not their fault per se.
Yeah, and that's a good thing with the game as it continues to evolve. You might come across a new card later on, and be like, you know what, that might work for this hero really well. I need to go back and give it a shot, kind of thing.
We just can't end with this one little section. I want to get your thoughts on FFG's little one-shots they're doing. Let me see if that's like the official title, right? Yes, weekly one-shot. They talked about in whatever that's called. What is it called, Ryan? They talked about that in a live stream. That they're going to do some more like fan interaction, I guess leading up to like the 5th anniversary of the game.
Yeah.
And one of those they talked about, we're doing these weekly one-shots, and by the time this comes out, we'll probably already have like weeks 2 and 3, but let's talk about the first week.
Yeah. It was, I didn't know they were doing these, obviously. I don't know if anybody knew they were coming up, but it was a nice little surprise seeing little challenges come out.
And I guess this kind of goes right into with our chatting with Chumps, is this could give you a reason to play like an older hero. Because there was some stipulations that you had to meet. So the first week's challenge name was The Ground is Lava. And you needed to win the mutagen formula scenario with the flight modular encounter set. Using only heroes that either have or have the ability to gain the aerial trait. And during the scenario, whenever an identity changes to alter ego form, you deal the identity 2 damage, because lava is hot.
That's what I've heard, Scott.
Yes, do not play with lava. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, so this is a fun one. We talked about a little bit of our game. I decided to play as Spider-Woman. I haven't played Spider-Woman in a while, and she does gain the aerial trait with one of her cards, an event just for that short amount of time. And I decided to run a protection pool aspect deck with her, which is something I haven't played pool in a while. So in a way, I kind of played not necessarily hero that I had a bad experience, but I played pool aspect, which I've had a bad experience. So.
Fun. I played a Storm deck, and Storm can get aerial from her cape, and that gives her aerial. And Storm I hadn't played Storm a whole bunch. Her weather to me is a little bit tricky at times, because it always seems like you want this particular weather to be out to maximize some of her event cards, but it's never the right one. It just seems like a timing issue, the potential timing challenge that she has, because you want to do it all, right? But you can usually only do about 1 or 2 things. But it was a fun play. Storm's a good character, and I leaned into her aerial with I put her Justice, so I had some Justice aerial cards. Jan Roll, we talked about Nova earlier. He came with a pretty good aerial Justice card.
So maybe we can do a highlight, like a highlight that you had with the scenario, and then a highlight with the hero that you did. So for me, a highlight of the scenario, I'm trying to think what was the best part. I think for me, I don't know. We didn't have to deal with that extra attack. Was kind of frustrating, but we were able to
nice thing with Storm
it.
Is I could make stuff -1, which kind of negated that extra card. It really just gave him the overkill and aerial.
Yeah, I think it would have been. I don't know. I don't think there's any like encounter cards that really play with aerial, other than probably the aerial encounter set or the flight encounter set.
There was that one card that he got attached. We were able to get it, dealt with pretty quick, but like it had the potential to like wreck us. I'm trying to find it here real quick. You can keep talking. I'll try and find it.
Yeah, we did. There was one moment we got 2 encounter cards. We got the flight attachment, and we got, I think, one of his attachments.
It's like a glider or something.
His glider. It might have been his glider, but thankfully we were able to get rid of them both pretty quick. But they would have wrecked us. So I think it was fun to really see flight be put, because I haven't done any of the Sinister encounter sets. It was fun to see flight on a different villain,
right?
And just see how it interacts with their deck. Yeah.
And I think we've talked about it in like a previous episode. It's one of those things where it's like, this can be added to a villain can seem a little easier, and it takes away or adds one of those extra little things. The overkill's the big one, so you couldn't really chump block much. I'm trying to find it.
You still haven't found it?
I found it. It's just really slow. Okay, it is aerial bombardment. Yes. So, attach to the villain, gets +1 attack, and ignores the retaliate keyword while attacking a non-aerial character.
Yeah,
And
that would have been a little tougher if we would have kept that on, because we used retaliate because of your weather fairly often.
We were gaining retaliate a bunch.
Yeah, you would have been able to avoid it because you had aerial always with your cape, but I didn't.
Yep. But we got rid of it. So, that was an interesting one.
And I defended a lot, so yeah.
You did.
I'm glad we got rid of that pretty quick.
Yeah.
Man, there was just so many there's so many minions in that scenario.
Yes.
There's so many.
Yeah. So one of my highlights was, of course, you had to play pool. So the pool encounter set or whatever it is came out fairly early.
Sorry about that.
We were having to deal with Dreadpool, but then Mutagen Formula is famous for just minions, just goblins getting your way, slowing you down, and I definitely felt that because we went a couple rounds and we looked up and it's like, man, we've only done like a handful of damage to a goblin. We need to kick this into high gear.
Yeah.
But you had like 3 or 4 minions in front of you, and I was able to do the Blast of Wind. And you can pick a player, you deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged. And I just cleaned the board.
It was pretty nice.
Yeah, it was. I think I did it a couple times. That's a sweet card. It makes thematically. It makes me think of Storm. I remember it was either the X-Men Legends 1 or 2, but you can soup up Storm's chain lightning to something crazy.
Oh, yep.
And it just chains to all the bad guys, and that's what this made me think of. I know it's the Blast of Wind, and she has a lightning bolt card, but this one to me is just how it kind of just takes out all the minions and deals damage everywhere.
You literally blew them away.
Yeah. That was good.
I
was just trying to think of. I was trying to think of a downside of that for him, and I had one. I was getting close to just getting killed. I think I had he attacked his boost card. A lot of his minions boost abilities puts them into play, so then they got additional attack from my Thunderstorm card. Or not Thunderstorm. Yeah, Thunderstorm gave me the plus. So it was just I almost got wrecked.
You had to be those one turn you had to be very careful. It was close.
Because I needed to flip down to recover and have my guard in, but by flipping down it took me 1 health because of that lava on the ground hurt me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty close. But after that we were able to maintain.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. Playing Spider-Woman, one of the highlights, it was a new deck I created, and the whole idea is to using the pool cards and the protection cards to be able to ready a lot and to basically stay in hero form and be at full health as much as possible. So I was able to have healing factor, which was constantly healing me. I defended a ton, so I tried to get some defense cards in there to help me ready or stun. I had stick-to-itiveness, which allowed me to ready all the time, and her finesse cards generates a resource for aspect cards, and so I just used one of those to basically constantly ready myself. Not constantly, but every turn have a ready. And I was able to defend, I was able to attack, I was able to thwart, I was able to do so much, and every time I played an aspect card, she just got stronger, and especially when you had the Thunderstorm out, getting that plus attack made it nice. Having that retaliate that you gave me, plus all the defending I did was really nice. We did a lot of damage through retaliate.
We did. And you had Dauntless, too. It was nice to see Dauntless actually work.
Yeah. It was a fun little deck. I did not mind the pool aspect, surprisingly.
Minus having to deal with Dreadpool. And the Goblin, he's got a lot of, like, when defeated, discard cards until, if they're a Goblin minion, do so. So, like, the whatever laser pistol, laser cannon that you need to defeat Dreadpool kept getting tossed.
Yeah. And it made it nice for having I never flipped down. I stayed in hero the whole game. But what made it nice, because my health was so high, I was able to use the pool resource cards, which gives you double resource if you've sustained less than 5 damage, and triple if you sustained 0. So I had tons of resources if I got one of those 3, and I could pay for anything because my deck curve is very small. It was a good little combo deck. I was pleasantly surprised. I might make a few more changes, but it was a fun one. The one difference that you were able to do, I felt like you were able to do big damage with your wind and your thunder strike.
Yeah, the lightning bolt, that was one. There's sometimes when you play a character, you may toss a card. Anytime I had that lightning bolt, I tried to play it. That's her big 8 damage attack.
Yeah. So I felt like you were able to do bigger attack and bigger thwart at times. And I guess for me, I felt like I was more consistent, but less. I was able to do a lot of consistent damage in the villain phase with like retaliate or whatnot. And I was able to ready a lot. So I was able to do a lot of 2 and 3 damage, depending on how things were going, or thwart. So I was more like maintaining things rather than doing these big heroic things that you were doing. But that was okay. It worked out.
And we had to put out tons of damage because we cycled his deck once, almost twice, and we saw. I felt like we got a couple of goblin minions like almost every stinking turn. We saw both the big ones came out. It was.
I got
how
the big
minion
ones.
heavy this scenario is.
I definitely think doing if you do a multiplayer, having someone with the pool aspect to be able to get Dreadpool in, and then combo that with someone with the aggression aspect, and having Hall of Heroes.
Yeah, I needed Hall of Heroes.
Constantly be killing him and just fuel it.
That's true. He's right that like annoying level. He's 3, so you can usually get rid of him every turn. So he's not activating or doing anything on the villain phase. Yeah, the one
Especially
thing that
like Thor, that'd be nice.
We had to kind of pucker up for was we played standard, and when you go from stage 1 to stage 2, you get those additional encounter cards.
Yep.
And I think I decked out during the player phase.
Yeah.
And then I had Dreadpool down as well. So you got your 2 plus the 1 for the round. So you had 3, I had 5. So we had to deal with 8 encounter cards.
We went from like 0 minions to like 5.
Yeah, it was like every minion. Well, one of those was Dreadpool, but yeah. And we were like, oh, we're getting, I've got a big attack and this and that, and it's like, oh, well, now I've got guard, I can't do that, and I've got to deal with, those soldiers have 5. They're like an annoying. Plus, they do the additional 1 damage when you defeat them. So we had like 3 of those. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, once we got past that, we were good.
Yeah,
that was like
and the other,
I felt like that was Goblin's big stand. Was that last?
The other card that I normally don't play with Storm, I just felt like it's always been clunky, but like because of the mutagen formula response of Green Goblin, where he puts threat on if he deals damage to you, I played Flash Freeze quite a bit. And that card worked really well because it makes the villain and the minions have -3 attack while attacking you in the phase. So when we did have those few turns where we couldn't get rid of the minions, I was just like, let him attack me so I can do anything. So
yeah,
that was fun.
That was very helpful for you staying alive.
Yeah, because you were protecting it up like crazy and taking very little damage.
Yeah, I would take, because Goblin's minions really don't do much damage. There's just a ton of them, and so I could take the 1 and 2, and then I had I had healing factor, so I'd just heal up and be fine.
Yeah, that kept you tip-top shape, and if you were going to be flipping down, you kind of negated that too. That was kind of the same strategy we had with Storm's Garden. So, but you never flipped down. It didn't matter.
Which made me add the one card, Angel's Airy, and I finally got it out, and I was so excited. And then I got
caught off guard.
Encounter card. Yeah, caught off guard, and I discarded it. But it ended up being okay because I never went down, so I would never been able to use it.
Right, you just had a bunch of tokens on it.
Yeah, so if I ever wanted to go down, I'd have tons of health.
Yeah, it was a fun little thing. If you've not done it, I would recommend trying it out, trying some different heroes. I was thinking about how you mentioned what they've done with Ariel from the beginning of the game to now. I know there's a couple of heroes that just got it, but Iron Man and Spider-Woman, their Ariel interactions a little different than just getting the trait.
Yep. So, which is weird. I mean, Spider-Woman, I think that one's fine, but Iron Man's a little weird.
Yeah, you figure he can just fly all the time. But whatever.
Yeah, well, I guess him being so smart, he just couldn't figure it out.
He could constantly give himself 2 boots that do the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
fun times.
Iron Man. All right. Well, I assume we're going to be playing most of these. I don't know how many weeks they're going to be, but we should get a few more weeks in. We may not do a full episode, but maybe we'll have a little section we talk about them, chat about them.
Yeah,
and
that sounds good.
I guess Solo Papa's still a champ. We won't even say that he went from a chump to a champ. He's just a champ. So
yeah, he's achieved the champ status.
It's just constant champ status. The champ trait. Should that be a trait? Should we trait that, Ryan?
Oh, he's got the champ trait.
He's gained the champ trait.
Yeah, I like not it. Champion. Don't get it confused. Not champion. Champ.
Yeah, right. Just champ.
All right, man.
All right.
Sounds good.
Let us know if you played the Ground is Lava week 1 shot or whatever they're calling it. Let us know who you played, what your outcome was, if you won or not, because it does say that you're supposed to win it, so you need to win it.
Okay.
It does. Yeah,
oh wow.
This is win mutagen scenario. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Let us know, or if you got a question, if you want to go from a chump to a champ, let us know your question. We'll talk about it. We'll chat. We'll chat with some chumps.
That's right.
You can reach out to us at marvelchumpionspod@gmail.com. And we appreciate everybody listening, writing in. And as always, if you want to go from a chump to a champ, listen to Marvel Champions Podcast. Thanks.
Have fun with the Wave 1 challenge.
Try it. That lava's hot. Stay out of the lava.